Welcome to the Home Show, where we discuss all things Home Magazine on WLNI. Looking for design inspiration, delicious fare, home improvement tips, or hospitality ideas? All from local experts? You've come to the right place. The Home Show is presented by Piedmont Floor Show. Take your next step with them. Find them online at PiedmontFloorShow.com. Now, make yourself at home. Here are your hosts.
Good morning and welcome to the Home Show. I'm Trish, publisher of Home Magazine, here with Ashley, our producer, and Rich. And if you're new here, the show is all about Home Magazine. We go in depth with each issue, covering our articles on design, home improvements, gardening, and how we live in our homes. If you haven't seen the latest issue, you can grab it all over Lynchburg or visit cvhomemag.com for a digital version. I also invite you to follow our social media channels on Facebook or Instagram, and we have a really easy tag for you to remember, Home Magazine VA. Good morning, you two.
Hello. Look at her. She is running this thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Rich is texting. I'm just over here like, oh, hi. Oops, hi. I need to talk. Hi.
And I'm still just Rich.
He's just Rich.
Yep.
He's the homeboy.
Just Rich.
You don't like the title we gave you, so you're just Rich.
That's okay. It's Mother's Day weekend. I can accommodate.
So any special plans for Mother's Day, Rich?
I don't know.
For Trish?
I don't know.
I don't know what we're doing yet.
Are you the mom who has to plan your own Mother's Day?
No, I mean, when the boys were younger.
It's just that she likes so specific things like, we'll grill out or I'll smoke something, a delicious, meat. She doesn't eat meat. It's like,
I don't not eat meat.
She's
I just
very
eat.
difficult.
Because she doesn't want, okay, this smoked meat. Because I picture like a lot of traditional Mother's Days are less about grilling out and usually like a spa day or like a leave me alone day, breakfast in bed, like that kind of stuff, rather than grilling meats, to be honest with you.
My only thing is that I do not cook. The kitchen is closed from me anyway. I do not cook anything on Mother's Day, and I've always done that. When the boys were little, I used to drag everybody to the strawberry patch, and we'd go pick strawberries and have a picnic, and now they're older, and it's not as fun.
Well, and Ryan probably won't be home until late tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, the college thing. Yeah, they're getting older.
Right.
So.
It's tough.
What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do?
Well,
but speaking of Mother's Day, we have some great gift ideas at jamesrivermedia.com, and we've just added a couple late in the week. So even if it's late and you haven't done it, you can jump on, you can order something, and even if the card's not there, you'll have the receipt that you've got, or if you really screw it up and need to do it next week because you botched Mother's Day, we've got some cool stuff. We've added gift cards to curtains, blinds, and bath. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for some items for the home, and also Greer Design Co. has put up an initial consultation, an in-home consultation for interior design. So that's there. We've got the Nomad Mobile Detailing, interior or exterior or both, and also Jersey Mike's, because who doesn't love Jersey Mike's? And if you want to be the first to know what's going on, because the Milanos went like that.
They are always gone in the first day, and if you're not following on social, at James River Media VA on Facebook and Instagram, you're going to miss it every time.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we got today, Trish?
What do we have today? We will be joined in studio with Alicia Smith with F&S Building Innovations, and we will also be joined by Alice Ann Clark with British Swim School.
Yeah, so lots going on, and I know Alicia's going to talk about all different types of things, including garages, because garages aren't just garages anymore.
No, they are multifunctional spaces these days. I think we might need one at some point. Oh, after I get my kitchen and bathroom.
Priorities. And we can talk with Alicia about all of that.
Oh, yeah, all of that.
Let's do it. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
We're talking about everything and the kitchen sink. Stay tuned to The Home Show, presented by Piedmont Floor Show. Welcome back to The Home Show, presented by Piedmont Floor Show on WLNI. Heard it on The Home Show? Find it anywhere you listen to podcasts and at WLNI.com.
Welcome back to the Home Show. I'm Trish, publisher of Home Magazine, joined here with Ashley, our producer, and Rich. And I am now excited to introduce Alicia Smith with F&S Building Innovations. We've had her on the show before and just want to welcome you back. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. We always try to just have a great tie-in with one of our issues, and we have in the Smith Mountain Lake issue, the newest issue that came out March 15th, we have a premier profile for F&S Building Innovations, and the project, we always focus on a project, we try to with F&S, that's what we normally do, but they had a couple that transformed their kitchen into a timeless masterpiece. Do you want to just talk about the work that you did with their kitchen?
Absolutely. These folks transferred from Texas. He was a doctor, so they had to move fast and swift and find a home to move into. So they obviously weren't able to find everything they wanted in that home. So they called us to look at the kitchen. She had a catering business in Texas, so it was really important to her that she's able to work in that kitchen and function and prepare all these meals. But let me tell you, she also wanted it to be gorgeous. So we were able to design her kitchen in a way that gave her both highly functional, high-end, but also just really pretty.
It's so light and bright, and I really love the wet bar area. Just the backsplash on the tile is so pretty.
Yeah, that's gorgeous at night when the lights are on. I mean, it's a really nice accent to that room.
Wonderful. So for those who aren't familiar with F&S, just give us a rundown of what you all do. You do a lot.
Yeah, so actually this is the 50th year of F&S Building Innovations. So we've had 5 decades of working in the construction industry. We primarily do renovations. We've got both a large residential and a large commercial division. Our commercial division pretty much focuses on healthcare renovations, but also design build, ground up construction, a lot of retail spaces, Kroger's, those kind of things. In our residential division, we do everything from if someone just wants a new deck or wants their existing deck to be renovated, if they just need a new kitchen or a bath, or, they may have a home that really just needs a complete upfit. It needs to be gutted. They might want to add additions. We can really help them transform the space into theirs.
Commercial versus residential. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm probably 100% wrong. But
did a man just admit he might be wrong? What in the world?
Alicia, I think you have that backwards.
Well, we don't ever have to admit it because girls are never wrong, Rich.
And there it is. Are residential projects more fun? I mean, can you be more creative because you're working with folks versus commercial where it has to be very specific to whatever that company needs?
It can.
I mean, I don't know if I'm asking the question.
Yeah,
right,
it can be very different because when you're working in a commercial space, this is something where someone has designed for someone else. The people that are working in that building, it's not theirs. They don't come home to it every night. So, they're paying attention. They're like, this is pretty, this is nice. But it's not as emotional as when you're working on your own home, especially when it's kitchens and baths. I mean, that's a woman's domain. We want our kitchen to feel like home. We want our bath to feel comfortable. We don't want to come home and look around and feel frustrated and feel like there's clutter everywhere. So, it's a lot of opportunity when you're designing these spaces to really just make them something that people cannot wait to get home to. That's the goal. In your own home, you want to come home and be like, I've had a hectic day. I've had a crazy day. I've had all these things go wrong, but can I come home and just love it when I walk in the door? That's the goal. That's our job in the residential division, is to make people's home just be like that. I'm home.
So as important as that is, for someone who's thinking, I really want to do something in my kitchen or bathroom or whatever, what's the first step? I mean, I imagine, they can call you guys, right? And you'll come out. But I mean, I'm guessing there should be some forethought, planning, whatever, research, whatever that goes into it, so people have an idea of different options that are out there or whatever the case might be.
Absolutely. I mean, the more you can do some research and have an understanding of what you need or what you want, or even the aesthetic that you're going for, that's amazing. But by the same token, some people have no idea. They don't even know what they like. There are a lot of folks who have moved from several homes. They've just bought whatever was available. If they've transferred, maybe they've never had the opportunity to really stop and think about, okay, what do I really want? What style do I really like? So it's always great. You know, some contractors are like, oh, we hate Pinterest boards, but I love them because it kind of gives people a direction of being able to look at this and say, I love this, or I hate this. I think this would work for me. I don't. So really zeroing in on what they want their end result to be can be more, can be a little faster if they've already done some research and kind of have an idea what they want. But if they don't, that's no problem. I mean, that's our job to help them arrive there.
And with you being a designer, do you ever have people come to you like, I have no idea what I want, just go wild? Do you ever get just full reign from your customers?
Of course.
Yeah.
And those are fun, Mm-hmm. And I always tell people too, when I'm working on a design for something, if you hate it, say you hate it. Mm-hmm. The goal is for people to get exactly what they want. Especially if folks have no idea and no direction in the first place. It's a process. Don't think the first thing that we put in front of you has to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what do you love about it? What do you hate about it? Because then you can, zero in very quickly on what it needs to be.
And you're able to show them visually kind of what their project will look like when it's done.
Yeah. Being able to design things in 3D is so helpful because a lot of people really, and I'm very visual myself, a lot of people just cannot visualize. You start talking about removing walls or adding on roof systems. They're like, I don't get it. I don't know how you're going to make that look like this. Mm-hmm. But when you can show them on the computer and print it out, or even, pull up the computer and let them walk through the room and realize, man, if we vault the ceiling and add this glass, it's going to make such a difference. So that's really key in helping people arrive at what they want their finished product to look like.
What are some of the more important elements? Like if someone's really overwhelmed and they have all these different things, and obviously for most folks, budget's some sort of concern. Mm-hmm. Are there certain aspects of renovation projects that are more important to focus on and get right than others?
Obviously, you've got to work within the constraints and renovations of what your existing conditions are. There are some times where something can be done. Somebody might say, I've got these 2 rooms. I want to knock all the walls out and make it one big room. Can it be done? 99.9% of the time, the answer is yes. But maybe the budget comes into play. The cost to do that far surpasses where their budget is. So then you need to look at, okay, what are some other options? How do we get to where you want to be within budget, and get the final result that you're looking for? So that's something that has to be considered. And you've also got to look at your finishes. I mean, you can be middle of the road. You can be super high end. We've got some customers now that are looking at full marble slabs for a shower. Just the slabs themselves are about $80,000.
Wow.
And those numbers sound, they're huge, but that's what they want and they're willing to pay for it. Most people are not going to be at that high end level, so understanding where you want to be budget wise. And I tell people, if you let us know where you want to be up front, it's not that we're trying to max it out. It's that we have an understanding of how to design things and how to help them choose, final selections that help get them in the budget that they need to be in.
So along the lines of kind of what Rich was asking, are there some areas that would be worth splurging on and some other areas that you could save on? I guess what I'm asking is, like, where do you want to spend a majority of your dollars?
Sure. So again, you're thinking structural wise. Is it more important for me to knock out all these walls and have one big room? Or do I want to make sure my cabinetry has high-end countertops and I'm able to get all the decorative lighting that I want, and I want the nice hardwood floors? I mean, some people are willing to splurge. They want good, real hardwood floors versus a luxury vinyl plank product, which is really popular now. It's a waterproof option, especially for like lake houses and basements and things like that. So, finding out where your priorities are, it helps you hone in on the budget. Mm-hmm.
And that really is all very personal, right? It's what someone's personal preference is, because you can say, oh yeah, we can I was going to use the word skimp. That's obviously not the right word, but we can go a little bit heavier in one area because that's more important, but there isn't necessarily unless maybe it comes to retail value or resale value, a place where you'd rather invest more of that money to get a better ROI?
It's hard to hone in on those selections. There are so many million options with everything for flooring, for cabinetry, for, even paint lines and levels and finishes. So if we can understand, again, what the person's budget is up front, then sometimes we can do some value engineering to help them arrive at, okay, I know you really wanted hardwoods, but if you want to be able to open up this wall, maybe this is an option. The whole house doesn't get hardwoods. Maybe it's in the main living areas and you do something else in other areas.
And like you said, there's so many options out. Hopefully people will just kind of like, okay, I'll settle, and maybe not settle is the right word, but compromise. I'll take up my walls and I'll compromise on these floors, because there's so many options, and a lot of them do look like just great hardwoods now.
Oh yeah, there's so many great options. And a lot of times you get to the end of it and they say, you know what, I think it's worth it. Let's pay the extra to get exactly what we want in all the areas.
We're talking with Alicia Smith with F&S Building Innovations. And what would you say is the average amount of time on, let's say, a kitchen remodel? I know it probably can always vary, but what would you be looking at kitchen-wise or bathroom-wise?
I'd say there's no such thing as average. That's like saying, how much does it cost to buy a car? It just depends. It depends on the scale. I mean, if you're looking at a kitchen remodel that you're simply just going back in with the same footprint, pulling out the cabinets, replacing them, using existing, you might have a week to 2 weeks, maybe a little more than that, depending on how long it takes to, once you template for your counters, you've got a, downtime waiting for those to come in. But anything other than that, when you've got plumbing involved and electrical, if you're doing that, you're probably rerouting HVAC lines and ducts and walls. So, I mean, for the most part, most kitchen remodels, if you're doing anything other than just replacing cabinets, it's going to start at a month and go up from there.
Trends that you're seeing now, garages is kind of much more functional living spaces rather than just a place to park your car. Is this becoming a bigger thing?
It is. There are so many people adding garages with a bonus, if not just a bonus room, full apartments. It's really just found space if you have an area that you, especially with detached garages. We've done quite a few of those with many apartments above, especially, we do a lot of work at Smith Mountain Lake. So if they need added space, they have an opportunity to put a couple bedrooms up there or a mini kitchenette. Obviously, you've got to look at the zoning and permitting for your area, but it's a wonderful way to add usable space. A lot of people will use those garages for functions. They've got the garage space, but then when they have all their family over, then they're using that for everybody to put up tables and chairs and be able to gather in one space. So many great ways to use those garages. It's amazing. And if the woman gets the kitchen, the man needs a bigger garage, right? I mean, it's only fair. In fact, the profile that we were talking about earlier, they had a small 2-car garage as part of the existing house, but we did a large 3-car garage detached with a huge storage space above it, a huge outdoor patio for a hot tub. So we were really able to add them a nice space as well.
Is that fairly cost effective as well? Because, I've heard the expression, building up is cheaper than building out or whatever. But if you're doing a detached garage specifically, the ability to put something above it, is that pretty cost effective?
Sure. It's found space. You're utilizing the same foundation footprint. You're utilizing the same roof structure. So absolutely, there's a volume of scale there for sure.
We've had 2 homes and we've never had the luxury of a garage. I don't know how we've gotten through.
Oh my goodness, Rich.
I know. It sounds like I need to get him his own little space.
Yes, because then they go play in their garage and they don't have their stuff all over the rest of the house.
Right. I'm thankful for it. We have a shed, so I'm thankful for that. But so if you are looking to add a new garage onto your property, is it easy to make it cohesive? Like, you want it to look like it belongs with your house, right? Sure. So if you have a house that's older, is it pretty easy to just make it look like it was there?
Sure. You want to mirror the aesthetic and make it, you don't want it to feel like it was as an add-on. And we do our best to design that so that you do have that feeling. It doesn't look like it was just plopped there in the middle of your property, that it ties in for sure. And a lot of people, by the time they get to that point, they're like, maybe my whole exterior on my house needs an upfit. So a lot of times we'll do a detached garage, but in conjunction with that, new siding or new windows, and give the house a facelift too.
Right. And I have to say, I love a breezeway.
Yeah,
I love breezeways. They're so pretty.
they are. It's
I'm
kind of a throwback. He's afraid to talk about it.
I'm afraid to ask another question. I'm feeling very defensive over here, Alicia. Wow. You guys do so many different things. You talked about commercial and residential, and we've talked about decks and garages, and obviously you build homes as well. I mean, for folks who want to learn more about what you guys at F&S Building Innovations do, what's the best way? I know you guys do. You have a YouTube channel where you're doing video stuff. I mean, you guys have a lot going on. What's the best way for people to learn more about you guys at F&S?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say start with the YouTube channel. It's a great opportunity just to see some of the work we've done. You might get some inspiration there. You can always visit our website, which is fs4seasons.com, or just call us, 540-985-9160. We're happy to chat with you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always great to have you in studio.
Yeah, it was good to see you guys.
We're going to take a short break.
Yeah, thanks, Alicia.
I'll expect a phone call from you about that garage, Rich.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
We'll be right back. In the meantime, check out our latest issue of Home Magazine. Visit homemagazineva.com. You're listening to The Home Show on WLNI, presented by Piedmont Floor Show. Grab your free copy of Home Magazine at a location near you. Learn more at homemagazineva.com.
Welcome back to the Home Show. We just once again want to thank Alicia Smith with F&S Building Innovations for joining us in studio. And we are going to switch gears here. And we have another guest we would like to welcome. We have Alice Ann Clark with the British Swim School.
Hey, Trish.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And you are now enrolling for summer swim lessons in Lynchburg. So give us a little background on the British Swim School.
Thanks for having me. I am super excited to share today. We are a premier survival swim program and locally focused survival into stroke. So we're a special breed, and we like to say that we can take your swimmer and make them safer in the water, and then also bring them to love the sport and find the lifelong skill in swimming. So I'm a mom of 3. So as a Virginia native, both through my own motherhood journey and education, I knew that I wanted to do something that kind of brought something to the community that there was a real need for. So I started British Swim School, and it's an amazing program where the curriculum is 40 years old. It's tried and true, started by an educator who really knew children and the sport. And then through the last 40 years, she's just honed in on that for other small business owners to be able to take it and replicate it and grow safer swimmers in their own community.
Can you just expand a little bit about what survival swimming is?
Yes, definitely. Okay. Great question. So when we say survival swim, a lot of times people picture tossing a baby into the water and hoping they float. So a lot of our parents say that that's how they were taught, whether it was in Smith Mountain Lake or the river or their backyard pool. We don't do that. I'll caveat that. But really, survival means jumping in or falling in, being able to float, stay on the surface, and call for help.
I would imagine you guys do so much, and when I hear British Swim School, the first thing I always think of is swimming lessons for kids. But you guys are so much more than just that.
We really are. So that's a great point. I think traditionally you think of swim lessons as little ones, and you learn it and you've got it for life. And if you don't learn it, your window has passed. So we like to say that all of that, we want you to forget all of that, and that anyone can learn to swim. And just because you used to have the skill or maybe have used it in the past, it doesn't necessarily stay. You've got that muscle memory. You got to use it or you lose it. So we teach all abilities. That is a really big passion for us. So we have an amazing dolphin program where we meet children where they are for those abilities. And we find that there are lots of communities that have less resources for all sorts of special needs and abilities. And then we also, our adults are really really big passion project for us. So my aquatics director, who's phenomenal, has a lifelong swim passion, but also grandparents who didn't know how to swim. So having that real adult experience to know that fear it's hard to overcome. We have several adults who didn't learn as young kids, and there wasn't really an option for them. So that's where that it gets a little tricky, where if you don't have a program that's focused for adults and that feels really robust and professional and also adult focused, it can feel silly or maybe not appropriate. And so we have a really focused group where we get to really say, what are your goals? What are your fears? There are reasonable fears, of course, never having learned to swim. And how can we help get you there?
What are some examples of how you do help them overcome their fears?
That's a great point. So obviously communication is a big piece. So being able to talk through with them as they enroll. So our enrollment process is either online, easy at your convenience, and then we call and chat before your first lesson, or when you actually get to deck. We like to say that our personality and kind of getting that personal touch really helps you see, what are your goals? What brought you here today? We have an extensive note-taking system. So our platform allows us to keep notes and make sure we know for every swimmer what they're working on, maybe what happened that week, what tools and resources work. But for our adults, I honestly like to say that trust piece and building that connection with an instructor, our adults, we joke, are harder students because as adults, we don't learn brand new skills very often. Kids are used to being in a classroom. They sometimes get that, they're used to didactic instruction where they try and they fail or they, build resilience. Adults are honestly a little bit trickier. We get frustrated a little more easily. And fear is a lot harder to overcome after 30, 60, 80 years of a fear. So that really meeting them where they are and building that connection is really special for our instructors.
It's interesting, and once again, we're talking with Alice Ann Clark with British Swim School. That this is a tried and true and tested program, right? It's not just some dude who's in the river or in the lake or in a pool teaching people how to swim. I mean, this is something that's very that's been worked on. You said for over 40 years. Talk a little bit about the fact that that it does have that history and pedigree to it, and how that evolved.
Great question. So I'm a passionate educator. When I had my work in the classroom before and then doing education work before I started British Swim School, there's something about curriculum that is tried and true, like you said, that can really prove or disprove progress. So good curriculum is important. So having something where you have examples of progress through different modalities. So we like to say any student comes in and maybe they're a tactile learner. They like to splash. They are super hands-on. They like to feel the water. They're maybe grabbing at things, where we might have a more timid student who is a little quiet. They want to observe. They don't want to be in the hubbub. They maybe even are a little bit overwhelmed on that first lesson. It's loud in a pool. It's fun. There's singing. There's laughter. But we know that through our curriculum, we can actually individualize the lesson for each of those swimmers and actually say, great, Rich, good to see you today. We're so happy you're back at the pool. I remember last week, you really loved when we sang our ABCs during that lesson. You know what? I think we can get to Z when you're in your back float. Let's try. And saying, oh, great. Well, and Rich hopefully lights up and says, oh, that was so much fun. I loved that. And then being able to say, oh, you know what? That didn't work. We're going to try something else. And kind of bringing that into every lesson, every week, for every swimmer is really, I think, the difference between our curriculum that has tools and resources and just history to back it up. And as an educator, that makes me excited. I love that stuff. So I could talk all day about that. But for, I think, the layperson who kind of hears it, hopefully it's more that they have a little more confidence in why we focus on the skills that we do and why we need to make sure we're following the process and why one skill builds upon the next.
So you're currently teaching at Randolph College, at the pool there at Randolph College. And my kids swam there when they were younger on the swim team.
It's such a great pool.
It's a great pool,
beautiful.
very centrally, conveniently located, very nice pool. Can you just tell us what a typical class looks like if a parent was going to enroll their child or an adult wanted to take lessons? Like, what's your typical class size and the time that you're in the water, your instructor to student ratio?
Yes. So our pools are obviously not ours. So we like to say we love utilizing those pools when it's convenient for the facility, and Randolph College has been phenomenal. And so when we welcome a new friend or a new swimmer, we greet them, and they start their lesson right when the clock strikes start time. So we say those 30 minutes are sacred. The 30-minute lesson each week follows the same lesson plan, but with different challenges and skills. So for example, if we have a new little swimmer friend who arrives on their first day, we're going to start with a welcome and intro. Now, little do they know, we're working on seeing their comfort in the water. We're seeing if they are nervous when their face goes under. We're seeing how they're feeling that day, maybe even asking, how was school, or how was work? What's new? Share something about the last week that you got to practice one of your skills. And then we move into our skills for our main theme. So like you asked earlier, the survival piece really focuses on back floating, submerging, and being comfortable fully underwater for 3 seconds, resurfacing, and then finding our float and preliminary backstroke. So, of course, those are really big skills, and building upon them, especially for little ones, we break them way down and we incorporate that muscle memory. So each turn, you get to do 3 turns for each skill. So that's that muscle memory practice, and then you get to observe your peers. So maximum of 4 students in a class really helps that student practice, celebrate, see a few times from their friends, and then back to practicing. So that both the modeling for our teachers and instructors to show, then sharing and demonstrating, and then really observing and saying, okay, great, next time I want you to do this. I saw that, you got 2 seconds, let's try 3. Or that was a little bit scary, wasn't it? You were so brave. I know you can do it, and I'm right here. Let's trust each other and do it together.
You talked about all different experience levels. And obviously, we've been talking a lot about the beginners. What's the highest level you teach, and what can folks learn there?
Great question. So we have a non-competitive swim team, so all the way through. So our survival focus is really the beginning of our program, and that is where we continue to move through that until we say they're safer in the water. No one's ever totally safe. Water accidents can happen to anyone. But that after that, they get to then go into the sport and actual stroke refinement. So all 4 strokes, our stroke development program can be for anyone who has either demonstrated or mastered that survival swim, or brand new swimmers who have come in and said, I really want to get ready for my summer swim team, or I'd like to be able to join my club team at my university. I'm looking for a little guidance. We just recently had the trail life groups come and do their water assessment and show that they could manage that for their badge. So we have all sorts of kind of the sport and the life skill built into our program, welcoming those of course, all ages, and refining those strokes is a really interesting piece for some of those swimmers who say, oh, I can swim. Oh, yeah, I love freestyle. Or, oh, I used to swim butterfly in school, or X, Y, and Z. And then they come in and we're like, great, here's some ways we're going to improve that. And maybe, change your speed a little bit now that you've got a little refinement of your stroke. And the progress there is awesome too, because then it's becoming a sport, and the, lifelong, hopefully, that endurance building skill you can do well into old age. So
Butterfly was my stroke in high school.
Really?
Yes, and I'd be really interested to see what it looks like now.
Wow. Well, we'll have you down at the
I'm
pool.
sure you would have all sorts of suggestions for improvement.
That's impressive. That's a hard
probably
stroke.
throw my shoulder out now, but yeah, that was my stroke in high school.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, but it is. I mean, just if you have a young one, it is such an important life skill. And, both of our parents, Rich's and mine parents, lived on the water, live near water, and they paid for our kids to have swim lessons when they were little because it was so important. So
that's awesome too.
Yeah.
That too, to see that focus of sometimes the anxiety that comes with all things parenthood, as we know, that kids and safety especially can be really hard and challenging and scary. But I think channeling it into saying, I actually know where to find these skills and hone in on this and actually make us all safer and more enjoyable too, of course. Being able to enjoy family homes or beach homes and beach vacations is really special. And that family aspect I've really personally for my own 3 who all swim with us. And that is just such a joyful change from maybe a little bit of that fear or just the reality that water is powerful and it can be scary, and kind of channeling it into empowerment and knowledge and the skill.
Right, absolutely.
Can I jump in for a second? As part of it, because you talk about the ocean and there are different things and challenges there, rip currents, different things. Do you guys get into, how to handle situations like that as well?
We do. So we actually have a survival week every couple of months where we get to focus the whole week of children, adults, and all ability swimmers coming and practicing in their clothes for that exact reason. So kind of the survival piece of focusing why it's so different to accidentally fall in the water. It feels a lot different if it's been a while since you've been in your clothes in the water. And then also reminding them that week that we get to share and talk about why lakes are different than oceans, are different than backyard baby pools, are different than the bathtub with a little one or a newborn, and even the how to help them then go and share and say when they're at friends' houses or maybe at a pool party or they're on vacation, they get to share and kind of, again, spread that knowledge of here's how I'm going to help myself stay safe, how I'm going to help my siblings or my friends and other family members make sure that they know what to do, whether it's dark water, deep water, cold water. There's a huge kind of girth of information there, but we make sure that the few main points where they know that there's always a water watcher, which is someone is a designated, uninterrupted, undistracted person who is an adult supervisor. They don't have to be a lifeguard, but they are watching the water truly because it's alarmingly silent when someone falls in the water and goes under. So it's usually when there's a lot of people around and everyone's enjoying themselves and playing, and usually there's that party or fun kind of joyful aspect is when accidents happen most because everyone thinks, oh, everyone else is watching or it's a lifeguard at the pool. But really that water watcher aspect is huge. So we teach our kids, if you don't see a water watcher, we don't get in the water. If you have a parent who's, co-hosting something or maybe sharing supervision, that's a real true tag. You're it. I'm going to step away. So that water watcher piece. And then additionally that we never go into water that we don't know. So that could be a depth that we don't know. It could be a temperature that we're unsure of. And you kind of get curious. So like you can feel it. You can wade into the water. You can check to see if there's Smith Mountain Lake nearby, being able to enjoy the water in the river. But there's a lot of debris and natural things in the water that change all the time and shift around. So getting curious and kind of sharing in that, learning about it and enjoying it, but being really aware that all of that's really more about the survival piece. There's a reason why we have those.
All right. Well, as we wrap up the segment, Alice-Ann, tell us how people can learn more about you.
Thanks. Well, we are on social media. We love to share our swimmers, our families, our kids, and all about our program there. So we are on Instagram at BSS Roanoke Lynchburg. We are also online at BritishSwimSchool.com/Roanoke Lynchburg. And our local pool, Randolph College, is absolutely gorgeous. It's booming. It's busy. So we urge you, if you're thinking about lessons, to really get in now to make sure that you beat the summer rush and get to actually use the skills for summer fun and poolside and vacations. And then at summertime, we'll actually be out at Forest Lakes as well. So
Wonderful.
They're one of our pool partners. A beautiful outdoor facility and conveniently located right in Forest.
Well, thank you again, Alice-Ann Clark with British Swim School. We enjoyed having you in today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back with more of the Home Show right after this.
It's time to get our house in order. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Home Show on WLNI, presented by Piedmont Floor Show. Now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to The Home Show. The Home Show is presented by Piedmont Floor Show. Take your next step with them online at PiedmontFloorShow.com, on Facebook at Piedmont Floor Show, or drop by their showroom on Timberlake Road. And tune in for your next step each week on The Home Show. Let's hear from Anya.
It's time to figure out what your next step is on The Home Show, presented by Piedmont Floor Show.
I'm here with Anya Elward with Piedmont Floor Show for your next step. Anya, you guys have a really great line of carpets. Do you want to just talk about Joy Carpets?
Sure. I have this ginormous book in front of me with all sorts of patterns and colors. There's a lot of timeless patterns in here, stuff you'd find in a 1920 theater or 1980s bowling alley, the neon lights and everything. And then we have some stuff in here that's more fitted for hospitality, like elementary schools, so like letters and numbers, stuff for an assisted living home. So there's a lot of variety in here.
I think someone mentioned game nights.
Yes. There's a lot of stuff in here that looks like it belongs in a casino. So lots of fun, crazy patterns, but there's also a lot of stuff that's more muted, more suited to natural, neutral environment.
And just talk about the quality.
So this is a commercial grade product, so it has that durability. It will last you forever, but it still has that more residential look. It's not bulky or really rough. It offers that commercial grade without the commercial look.
Take your next step with Piedmont Floor Show. Find them online at PiedmontFloorShow.com or on Facebook at Piedmont Floor Show.
That was Anya with Piedmont Floor Show. We just want to say thank you again to Maddie and Ashley with Greer Design Co. for hosting our mood board workshop that we had earlier this week. It was an amazing time, and I hoped our guests learned how to create their own mood boards. And we are always looking for new workshops at some of our local advertisers and businesses in town. So if you have any ideas, please reach out to me at trish@jamesovermedia.com.
And speaking of Greer Design Co., they've also put up gift cards to Curtains, Blinds, and Bath at the bargains page at jamesovermedia.com, and an initial consultation, a 90-minute consultation for interior design work. So that's up there. We've got Jersey Mike subs. We've got Nomad Mobile Car Detail. Any of those sound good to you for Mother's Day, Trish?
Curtains, Blinds, and Bath gift certificates would be good. I do need a car detailing.
Some great options.
Yes.
JamesRiverMedia.com.
We just want to thank again Alicia Smith with F&S Building Innovations and Alice Ann Clark with British Swim School. We enjoyed having both of you in studio. And if you missed any part of the show, you can find us online at WLNI.com or follow us on social media at WLNI Radio. To read the latest issue of Home Magazine, subscribe to the magazine or find a free copy near you or visit homemagazineva.com. We hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. On behalf of all the men who forgot or didn't come through, we really do love you guys.
Happy Mother's Day.